Our guest in the studio today is a Canadian computer consultant who wanted to get the most out of his XM satellite radio subscription, so he wrote a program that lets him record the music coming out of it as MP3s. XM didn't like that so much. In fact, following the release of his Time Track software, Scott McLean has faced criticism from copyright critics as well as applaud from music fans. Scott, it's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you,
welcome.
Leo.
Finally, to get to meet you. Now this little doohickey is a PCR
That's
device
right.
for XM. And they sold these for $49 US. Not anymore.
At one time, it got down to about $14.
Really?
Yeah, they were
this would
selling.
allow you to hook your computer up so you could receive XM satellite.
Basically plugged in your computer, and you could tune any. It's a satellite tuner. It runs off your computer.
And you wrote software that interfaced with it.
Right.
And allowed people to record the music off of it.
There's quite a few people that actually did write software for it.
Wasn't that hard to do?
No.
Yeah. XM, of course, pulled the device immediately. If you could buy this now, well, you can't from XM, but if you buy it on eBay, it could cost you as much as $400. This would be what, $700?
Now it's a $700 one there.
Because it has a digital. Somebody's hacked this to put a little digital output on it.
Right.
Yeah. How hard is that to do to put the digital output on this thing?
Not very hard.
This little toss link.
Maybe.
So now you're getting the MP3's pure digital quality
That's
from the
right.
satellite. Well, let me see this Time Track software. You still sell this software, right?
Absolutely do.
Do you have to have a PCR to use it?
Not anymore.
Because you make this thing.
That's right. We have this new little box here that lets you plug into another of their radios. That's their XM Direct. That's actually.
So if you have XM Direct, you plug that into that side.
Right. It's
And
meant
then-
for a car radio, but this lets you run it off your computer.
This has USB now. Isn't that going to be a digital audio?
The audio is still analog because the XM Direct has two RCA connectors on it.
Got it.
So this is used to control the
This
digital
controls
part.
it, but you still do take the audio from the analog.
Right.
See, now that's the thing that I think that makes XM scared and makes the music industry scared is this digital copying of the music. If it's as long as analog, it's no different than taping off the radio.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, you wrote the software as a personal project for yourself?
I wrote it for myself basically because there was a concert on, and I think it was Blondie. that it was,
Oh, no, that's
falsetto.
Yeah,
Just
not going to work.
not happening. But it was on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I
Yeah.
wanted to hear it. It was a new live concert, so I thought, well, I'll just write something that'll just kick off and record at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's the great thing about it being a computer programmer. You can say something like that. Did you actually get the program written in time to get the...
I did, actually, yeah.
Wow.
So
Now, you wrote it in Visual Basic.
I did.
Now, normally in your work, you'll use Java or other languages as well. Why did you choose Microsoft's Visual Basic?
Because I needed to do it quickly.
You could prototype something really quick?
That's right.
Yeah. This is the program. Let's take a look actually at Time Tracks, and then I want to look a little bit about how you wrote it, because I think that's
Sure.
kind of interesting.
That's, of course, I can't run it in here because we have no satellite signal.
Right,
So these
right.
are some images I took last night. That's the main screen of it right there, and it basically lets you hit record and stop. Basically, just like a tape recorder.
And
hit
you
record
choose the
here.
channel. In fact, you have your favorites as
You
buttons.
can get your favorites down here. You can you see what's playing on every single channel at once.
Oh, that's neat. That all is given to you, text is given to you from XM. They
That's
feed
right.
that down.
It's right off the satellite. And then I had some blind users that wanted to, or visually impaired users that wanted to, or people that want to see it across their room. People are incorporating this into
really
their
big.
stereos.
Yeah.
So they have this so they can do it across the room. And a rather busy screen that lets you schedule what you're going to record at what time.
This is like the VCR part.
Exactly like
Yeah,
a VCR.
yeah.
And then you can also set it up so that if there's some, over here, I like Annie Lennox and I like a song called Summertime.
So you're
I
actually
wanna record
looking for
those.
that.
Or if I don't want to have any Barry Manilow,
No Copacabana!
it will never record it.
His name was Lola. All right, so Annie and I will not start singing Copacabana in deference to Scott's preferences. Maybe a little later in the show.
Oh boy.
Show us how you wrote this, because I'm very interested. This Visual Basic is, well, it's not really basic anymore. It's much more powerful than just a plain old basic.
It's extremely powerful. You can basically cause it to do anything you want to do in Windows.
Yeah.
Anything within reason. There's some complex things with threading and so on that you can't do in Visual Basic.
But pretty much anything. In fact, a lot of banks and a lot of companies now use VB to develop software because it's so
Absolutely.
quick.
That's right, and it's fairly easy to debug as well.
You're in the beginning stages of a project here.
This is just a blank form. It's just a window that we're going to create.
Okay.
And because it's an event-driven language, that means you draw the form first, and then you write code behind it.
So we're actually draw the user interface.
That's right. So I want to have a button over here, and we'll call
Look
it
at
Leo. There's our Leo button.
It doesn't do anything yet because we haven't put any programming behind it.
That's
We're
right.
actually designing the user interface.
That's right. So if I double-click that button, it's going to bring up the code.
Oh.
And so now I can say I can type in a message box. This is
Well, it even tells you kind of the syntax that you
yes,
would want to
exactly.
use.
So I know exactly what's going to happen,
Right.
and I'll say VB OK only. There we go. There's our program.
Wow.
So if I run that, as soon
You're
as
actually running the program.
I'm running the program now.
And when you click Leo,
click Leo, and there's
you get the message box. This is the message.
That's
pretty cool.
That's it. That's the program.
And that actually could be distributed to people, and not that anybody would download that, but that's how it works.
I can compile that into an exe, and it
That's amazing.
includes an installer, and we're done.
So you were able to, in just a matter of hours, create a simple program that would be able to read this. Was it hard to figure out how to read what was coming out of the PCR?
Yeah, there's a project online of people that have sort of reverse engineered the protocol to try and figure out exactly what's happening on this radio, how it's communicating back and forth. So
Because XM doesn't publish that. They
It's
don't
not
want people to
published,
know
no.
that. However, people have figured it out. That's called
Exactly.
reverse engineering, where
That's
you kind
right.
of look at something and you try to work your way backwards to what it should look like. So they've done a pretty good job. I mean, you can see everything?
It's pretty well documented. There's still a few commands in there that are going on that nobody seems to know why they're there, and they don't seem to actually do anything. But you know, the XM software runs it, and it runs fine without them. So
Did you have to write any libraries, or did VB have everything you needed to be able to talk to this?
I use the Microsoft Serial library so that we can connect, because this USB port actually appears as a serial port within the computer.
So that's where the data is coming in.
Right.
So you could use the library to talk to it, to read it.
Right. And then, but I didn't want to have messy code to decode the protocol within my program, so I actually wrote a little object that basically I can call it. One command says power on. Another command is turn to channel 44.
That's one of the neat things about VB. It's object-oriented. So
Right.
you could write an object that understood. It was kind of like a black box that understood how this
Right.
works. And did you distribute that OCX?
Yeah, I
to
did.
So people can now download it, and all they have to know is turn on, turn off, what your commands are. They don't have to know the guts of this at all.
So if they have VB or any other program that works with ActiveX objects, they can instantiate the object I wrote and basically write a program that'll work that radio in about 4 lines of code.
That's pretty neat. Don't you wish it had that? But for the Blondie concert. If you want Time Tracks, you can get it online. The news site is timetracks.com, yes?
Timetrackstech.com.
timetrackstech.com. And they now are selling, how much is the little adapter box?
$49.95. I'm
Same
going to get in
price that
trouble
you-
if I get that wrong.
Same price the PCR was. That's Canadian?
US.
US, okay. And of course, the software is how much?
Another $30 on top of that.
Right. But if you're an XM user, that's a great way to get your XM, and you still get the MP3s, and you can listen to them.
Yep, you'll leave that running overnight, and you'll end up with a couple hundred MP3s in on your laptop or your computer in the morning.
No wonder they pulled this off the market. Thank you, Scott. It's really neat to see how you can get an idea and quickly make it work and then refine it so that it's an actual product. This is your full-time business now.
This is now my full-time business, my full-time job.
That's really neat. Scott McLean, timetrackstech.com. When we come back, I'm going to tell you how you can get in touch with us so you can be on a future show and a whole lot more. We'll wrap this thing up right after this. Stay right here. That's so cool. And